So today is Thursday the 14th and I decided to vlog because I'm about to paint this dresser right here, because as you can see it's like a yellowy gross kind of color, kind of like, I mean, it'd look good if like our theme was like vintage in our house or something, but it's not. Like this whole room is like white and black, so that kind of like throws it off. We've had it for almost like a year, I'm pretty sure, and I've been meaning to paint it ever since we got it. And I just haven't, even though we've had the paint and everything, all the resources in our house, I just kind of kept putting it off. So I'm going to do that today. I was actually supposed to work today, but I decided to start reorganizing the house instead, kind of on a whim. So I'll just do my work tomorrow instead. Also, I know I'm gonna mess up when I'm painting it, so like, you can feel free to tell me what I did wrong in the comments, but like, I already know that I'm gonna do something wrong. Like, I should probably put primer on it, or like top coat, or whatever it's called, but I mean, all I have is paint, so I'm just gonna paint it. And I don't think I've ever painted furniture before, so like, it's probably gonna have lots of streaks and bubbles and stuff, who knows. But you know, as long as it's not yellow when I finish it, as long as it's just white, I don't really care. It'll look better than it does now, probably, as long as it's not yellow. It's also super freaking heavy, so I'm definitely not going to bring it downstairs and like outside to do it, so I'm just going to do it up here. And we got a tarp, and I got like a whole bunch of stuff from Wilco. Okay, like this whole paint set with like rollers and stuff. Literally got it like over 6 months ago, probably a year ago. Also, William is not here. He is at work. He's currently doing 2 weeks on work, 2 weeks off. So this is his last week at work before he should have another 2 weeks off starting next week. So I know we've done like quite a few, at least a couple quarantine vlogs, and in the beginning it was all like well, not exciting, like it's still scary. Obviously coronavirus is a serious deal, but you know, it's like, whoa, look at all these cases, whoa, we're on lockdown, this is crazy. And now it's like just so dull and boring. We're so sick of it, just staying at home. Like, I'm so sick of it. So we haven't had like the best past few weeks, which is why we haven't really vlogged, because it's been kind of hard. I mean, I know that lots of people are kind of going through it now that everybody's stuck inside. Well, not America anymore, but yeah, I know that like lots of countries are still on lockdown, and it's not fun or exciting anymore. It's just really boring. I'm kind of over it, and this is the first time that I've actually had like motivation to do something like this, so like, might as well do something with my day and be productive and work on a project that I've been meaning to do for a long time. So I opened as many windows as can open in our house, like this one and the one in here, so that like the paint fumes hopefully don't just like stick around. We also turned this room into like a little guitar music room, and we're just waiting until we can actually go shopping and get like a love seat or a little chair or something for this space right here, because the guitars used to be in the computer room right there. But William got his VR headset thing, and he was complaining that he needed more room to walk around. So we decided to move the guitars in there and have our own little like music room, which I actually like. Okay, so first thing I have to do is empty all the drawers, obviously. And I guess I'm just gonna throw it onto the bed because I don't know where else to put all this stuff. So yeah. Even though I feel like that's a bad idea, because I mean, it'll probably be done drying by the time we go to sleep, maybe? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. So I'm done with the main structure, and I'm gonna bring these drawers outside to paint after I wipe them down, just because there's not like much tarp room, obviously. And I also didn't realize, but I don't know if you can see it on camera, but I used a textured roller, which I didn't even know that I bought. Anyways, yeah, I didn't realize that I was using a textured roller, but it looks good. I mean, it's not yellow, so I'm okay with it. I like it. And there's probably just enough paint left to do these drawers, so it's not like I can really paint over it since I can't go get more paint. So while I wait for the drawers to finish drying outside, I figured that I will cook dinner for William. I'm going to make chicken tacos, which is like one of our go-tos. It's just really easy and good. And I also figured that one of you guys asked in like one of our previous videos if we could talk more about like our hometown and like Arkansas. Just more about where we're from, I suppose, because I know that like we talk about Arkansas quite a bit in our videos, but even people from America probably don't know much about Arkansas, let alone like people in different countries, because Arkansas is one of those states that just kind of like slips by, nobody really cares about. But yeah, so I figured I would do that. I wrote down like these small notepad thing of stuff about where we're from. So let's see if I can get the chicken cooking low. And I gotta cut an onion, and I've got my groovy onion goggles that William bought me on Amazon. Looking pretty good, because some people just don't cry when they cut onions, but I literally cry every single time. Like, I used to work in a kitchen, God, and they put me on onion cutting duty when I first started working there, because like nobody wanted it and they could boss me around, so they were like, go cut the onions. I literally like bawled every single time I had to do it. And so finally when I was training people, I had them go cut the onions, because it was miserable. Like, people literally kept asking me like, are you okay, every time that I was cutting onions, because like I was bawling. So these, as freaking stupid as they look, they help a lot. I also cut my finger every time I cut onions, so I try to be careful. Okay, so the first thing about the area that we grew up in is that that's where the first Walmart originated. So we are from Springdale, Arkansas, and the first Walmart originated in Bentonville, which is about 20 minutes away from Springdale, which also owns Asda now in the UK. So that's basically the only like cool thing that Arkansas is really known for, is Walmart. And then we also lived right next to a college town. The U of A, University of Arkansas, was in Fayetteville, and the Razorbacks football team is really big where we grew up. Everybody's very proud of football team. And I also used to work at the University of Arkansas, which is where I had the kitchen job as a chef. Also, I guess there's lots and lots of hiking, camping, lakes, mountains, that sort of thing, all around, which I didn't even realize was like a huge thing in Arkansas until we moved other places, and I realized like there's not a lot of hiking here. And when we lived in Biloxi, Mississippi, there was like nowhere to hike, no lakes, that's for sure, which is a big thing. Like, we grew up always swimming in the lakes in the summer. That was like our favorite thing, so it's really sad not having lakes. I think we're definitely lake people over beach people, just because of where we grew up. There were like, you know, Arkansas is very Midlands, so there weren't really any beaches where we grew up. Also, an interesting thing that I have thought of about Arkansas, well, the area that we grew up, Northwest Arkansas, is there's an equal amount of rednecks and whatever you call like city people. Like I told William this when he got home, what I was gonna talk about, and he literally made the point that his old house where he grew up, like his next door neighbor was like this super hick country guy, and then a couple feet over in the next direction was like this huge suburb where everybody went trick-or-treating and stuff because they gave out like a whole bunch of candy and they were super rich. So yeah, it's a weird area. I don't really know how to describe that. We also grew up in the Bible Belt, so there were churches everywhere. I grew up very religious. William grew up like a little bit religious. Neither of us are religious now, which is funny. It's definitely not a common thing in the Bible Belt to be not religious. It's literally not until I went to high school where I met just a few other people that weren't like Christians or Catholics or something. That's the first time that I had ever met atheists, agnostics, different religions, stuff like that. So and the area that we grew up in, we had this ice cream shop called Brahms, which is, I think, around Arkansas, maybe Oklahoma, maybe Missouri, but there aren't many of them, and it's only in like a couple states. But that's where everybody always hung out, everybody always went, and Brahms was actually amazing. They also sold like cheeseburgers and stuff like that, but yeah, that's definitely something that we miss. Also, Eureka Pizza, which is where my first job was. I can take these off now. Yeah, Eureka Pizza was literally, I did not realize how expensive pizza actually is, because at Eureka, pizzas were $5.99 for a pizza, $5.99, and then like Domino's, Papa John's, all that is like $20 for a pizza. Holy cow. And you'd think like those must be some pretty gross pizzas, but they are still to this day like the best pizzas in my heart. Like I always wish that we could have that. Took it for granted. I did not realize either that that was something that's only native to like Arkansas, maybe Missouri, maybe Oklahoma. Also, yeah, where we grew up is a quick drive to Oklahoma and to Missouri. So like there were lots of times where we'd go to Missouri or Oklahoma on little vacations or just every now and then. So we also visited those states quite often. And the town that we grew up in, Springdale, has a population of about 70,000, which I feel like is quite a lot because the town that we live in now has like 3,000. So yeah, there's lots of traffic. I heard that they're putting in more roundabouts now, making it a bit more Europeanized. But yeah, lots of traffic, but that was just something that we grew up being used to, like literally just stuck in traffic lines, which I have to say is something that we've only experienced in England like once or twice, and that's when there was a bad wreck up ahead. So, as I keep mentioning, we grew up in a town called Springdale, and in Northwest Arkansas, there are like a couple different towns. It's probably one of the most highest populated like areas in Arkansas, I'm assuming. So Springdale was known as like the sort of ghetto. Yeah. There was just a lot of ghetto stuff in Springdale. We didn't really live like on the ghetto side. Like there was a really like a for sure ghetto side, and then there was just like the normal side of Springdale. But whenever you thought of Springdale, you kind of thought of the ghetto. There's also tons of Mexican food, which was amazing. And then Fayetteville, where the U of A was, obviously there's lots of college kids and kind of like hipsters, I guess you could say. Lots of the college kids were, so that's what Fayetteville was known for. Rogers is where we went to high school, and Rogers is known for like the preppy kids, the preppy people, like the rich ones. And I have to admit that our high school was like pretty preppy. It was preppy. I mean, we went to like an arts academy, so yeah, it was preppy. And then there's Bentonville, which is where the first Walmart is, and it's kind of like more in the country. I mean, everybody that I know that lives in Bentonville has like houses out in the woods or something like that. And then there's Eureka Springs, which is where we took our honeymoon right after our wedding. And that is definitely a hippie town. It's like a super cool little town. Definitely different than the rest of Northwest Arkansas, and it gets lots of tourists, which is why we took our honeymoon there. But yeah, it's definitely hippie. So Arkansas is also known as the natural state. I don't think like other countries sort of do it how the United States does, but like every state has its own thing. Like, what are they? Florida? What is Florida? I don't know what the other states are. Yeah, actually I don't know. But every state has their own like slogan thing, and Arkansas's was the natural state. Because we were always like surrounded by a whole bunch of nature and tons of bike trails and walking trails, and like I said, like camping and lakes and everything. So that was really cool. That's definitely something that I miss about Arkansas. And I also wanted to point out that the area that we grew up in, Northwest Arkansas, is like, I feel like a lot different than the rest of Arkansas. It's just like its own little section. And then the rest of Arkansas is like just a lot of, for the most part, a lot of country, tons of hicks and rednecks. And then there's Little Rock. We're not really fans of Little Rock. It's kind of sketchy. Just not somewhere we'd want to live, because they do have an Air Force base there. And we do want our next base to preferably be close to home. But we'd rather be sent to like Oklahoma or Missouri than Little Rock. We just really don't like Little Rock. And I feel like that, you know, there's not much to say about Arkansas. I know that, you know, like even if you know a lot about geography, you probably don't even know where Arkansas is or know anything about it, because like, I don't blame you. Because Arkansas isn't just one of those states like California, New York, Florida. It's just one of those states that just falls into the background. But we still really, really miss it there, and I for one did not realize how much I loved living there until I left. Because growing up, so many people were like, I can't wait to move from here, it's so lame. And then I finally moved, and I realized like how much our area had that I didn't even realize compared to the other places that we've lived and that we've seen. Like, we were really lucky to grow up there. So we definitely are homesick and want to go back. But yeah, there's not really too much to say about it, because the only thing that it's known for is Walmart. If you guys want to, you should feel free to leave a comment about like where you grew up or where you live. I know most of our viewers are in England or in the UK. So that would also be super cool for us to get an idea of where to travel to in the UK. If you just want to leave us like things to do in your city, why you like it, why you like where you grew up, why you like where you live, just all that, so we can get an idea of where we might want to travel to next whenever we can actually travel. Also, I know in one of the last vlogs that we posted, we went out into the field beside our house and had a picnic, and then as we were closing up the fence, the hole in the fence, we were joking that deer would get in. A complete joke. The next morning we woke up to a deer in our yard. So we took this short little clip that I'm going to include here because we were very shocked. That was about a month ago, and since then we've seen deer in our yard like multiple times a week, and I patched up that fence so good, and they're still getting in. Like, I just saw one yesterday just right in our backyard. So I feel like there has to be somewhere else that they're getting in, or they're just like really weaseling their way in there, because I can't patch it up any better than it already is. But yeah, anyway, so in this video we were very shocked and surprised, like, oh my gosh, there's a deer, and now it's just like any other day, like, wow, look, a deer in our yard. But anyways, yeah, so that's been something that's been going on. I don't know how I feel about that. Like, as long as they can keep finding their way out, but I don't want to find like a dead deer in our yard because it panicked and couldn't find its way out again. I don't know. So we woke up this morning, or William woke up this morning, and yeah, and just saw a deer in our yard, which is so funny because in our last vlog, which I just edited yesterday, we were joking about a deer coming through our yard from that hole in the fence. Yeah. And it was a joke. That is so crazy.
They took like the first opportunity that they could to get in our yard.
That's so cool. Like, what? Who can say that? that you have a deer in your just suburban backyard.
Any-
Suburban backyard, really. Not your old redneck backyard. That's so crazy.
Isn't it funny though? Like an Arkansas deer would probably make it up to at least like the second horizontal post, whereas that one is like under the first.
Oh yeah, deer here in England are so tiny.
Tiny. They're like rabbits.
Freaking tiny. I know they're like baby deers, but it's full size.
Oh, is he?
I know. Well, he looked at the camera for a second beforehand, I think.
Maybe he's looking at ground level.
So I checked on the paint and it's still not dry. Hopefully it'll dry. Like I don't need like a top coat or anything. But yeah, so I'm gonna let it sit like a full 24 hours. What?
Shouldn't eat comfy, but it was working.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna let it sit for a full 24 hours before I try putting like the dresser fully back together. So yeah, we're just gonna end the vlog, and William's here finally.
Hey guys,
at the
I
end
was
of
at
the
work.
Vlog. He was at work. How was your work today?
Shit.
Oh, well, tomorrow's your last day for like 2 weeks now.
I know.
Yeah, you've been liking the 2 weeks off.
It's been nice.
It has been nice, but like we get really lazy and don't do anything and just watch the Vampire Diaries.
Not that that's a problem. Like I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Or just give us a dislike and tell us that you hate us. See you next time.
Baby.